Then, when faced with death, here they're mentioning the 5 strengths and then mentioning them at the time of death, which is called poa in Tibetan, and you may have heard this practice. Then there are many, Abongko Rinpoche in his commentary makes fun of the hik, or tik, or chik, or there are many strange practices of what you should do at the time of death to get a higher rebirth, which is called high status. You know, come back as a human, or a demigod, or a god, better than the lower realms, right? So, then there's like, if you just cough, right, then you get, you know, higher realm birth. Then Abongko Rinpoche makes fun of that practice as being absurd. Then at the time of death, this intention, bodhicitta, is to keep bodhicitta in your mind as you are dying. Then intention in life is to try to generate it as you start the day. Then intention in death is to try to keep it in your mind as you're dying. Then they often talk about, I guess it's Geshe Chekawa, who as he was dying, he was prayed to go to the hells. He had this unbelievable bodhicitta in his heart, but all he saw around him was heaven manifesting. Then Westerners might say it's delusion of the chemicals in the brain of death, and then you have to study mind, Buddhist conception of psychology and mind. Then number 2 of the 5 strengths is the strength of the white seed. Then that's accumulating merit and purification. Then there are many ways to accumulate merit, and many ways to purify the mind. Then, as we talked before, purification, shakpa, or opening your heart and confessing. Then, at the time of death, this one, this strength is to give all your possessions to a worthy object. Then to give it to a loved one, or to someone in need. Then at the time of death, don't be attached to any kind of object or person. Or the main thing is to have that great kind of bodhicitta, have a good understanding of emptiness, but definitely have a kind of renunciation to all those things. Then at the time of death, give away all your stuff. Then if you don't have much stuff, much easier. But not always. There's always the stories about the monks who nearly killed each other over a bowl. Then it doesn't matter what the object is. It's the state of mind that wants to keep things. Then it's a disease of the self-cherishing mind. Then Rinpoche used to always say, don't have pictures around people dying. Then if they have a favorite horse or a pet on the wall, then they want to be that thing. They want to take them with them. Then it disturbs their mind at death. Then the belief is that at that time of death, then one karma ripens, like the lottery. Then that generates the main next life. Then the bardo body will form what they call the bardo body. You know, many complicated, that's I believe, tantric teaching. Then the strength of repeated practice. Then this is, as I said before, every day meditate on emptiness. Ultimate bodhicitta, which is emptiness. Then conventional bodhicitta, try to generate in your mind. Then through the strength of repeated practice, which is the 3rd strength, at the time of death, then you won't be worried at all. Then if you're a great yogi or yogini, at the time of death, if you've done your practice all your life, then it's just like a movie. Then you don't have to worry about any type going anywhere bad, hell or lower realms. Then you have trained your consciousness. Then you have no worries. This is the best way. Then Geshe Roach used to always joke about people who, at the time of when you're faced with a illness where you have 6 months to live, then you try anything to lengthen your life. Then there's all these wacky practices, then you're going to just, I'm okay, I'll just do POA at the time of death. And then at the time of death, your life, your precious life is going away. Then your mind is crazy. Then, all the disappointments and hopes, and most people, they go crazy. The thought that without proper meditative practice, they're going to eject their consciousness into a higher existence without practice, then it's crazy. Then this is the most safest way to go. Then every day keep up practice. Then at the time of death, it's like movie, and it's controlled. Then there's no distraction. It mentions at the time of death, repeated practice, you will be able to generate bodhicitta effortlessly. Then that bodhicitta generated at the time of death effortlessly will only ripen positive karma in your mental continuum. Then that positive karma in your mental continuum will bring you to a much nicer existence. Then the fourth strength is the removing obstacles, the strength of removing obstacles. Then this Master Shantideva talks about all the time. Then when the self-cherishing mind crops up in life situations, then train an opposite antidote force mind, antidote in your mind to squash it. Then this comes very slowly with practice. You start out, little things. Then you go and you make a cup of coffee, and then you try to, offer it to someone else. Then you try to say, does anybody want coffee? Little things. Then you try to be not selfish, for 5 minutes, then 10 minutes. Then as these things arise, then to think that you're going to just one day be compassionate and concerned about all other beings more than yourself, it's crazy. But you slowly, like Master Shantideva talks about, vegetables start with carrots and potatoes start with vegetables, giving away food. I became a master at this in Manhattan. Manhattan, it's who wants to cook, so you go out to eat all the time. Then, I know I was a selfish asshole, so what better way to generate, in my small way, a good state of mind than to say, hey, let me take you out to eat, and let me get the bill. Then I used to do this practice all the time, based on Master Shantideva's teaching. And you start with what you can do. Then when you do offer that, and you cherish that other person, you take care of them, make sure they eat, then just don't expect anything in return, and understand their emptiness.